Hi everyone, this is Ida of Created to Create. Welcome back to my channel. If you are not 18 years or older, this video content is not intended for you. I have a project share, you guys. I have been working on some ideas as for right now for Christmas packaging, but this could be for any occasion. And I do want to do some tutorials on these projects that I created, but you know, if I get enough people that really want to know how I did it, then I will share how I did it. I used very few dies. Mostly it was a paper trimmer and a scoreboard. So those two items are things that, to me, in my craft room, that's a must-have. I mean, I can't cut straight for nothing. I can't even fussy cut. So a paper trimmer and a scoreboard just keeps you really lined up, you know, your lines and your corners nice and crisp. So you do need at least those two tools, plus glue and scissors, you know, the basic things to craft. You don't necessarily need dies unless you want to add a special die cut or something like that. If you want to embellish further, then yes, you need dies. But I try to make these projects with very few dies. So I want to share with you what I have been working on. Here's one of the boxes that I created, and this is a gift box for you to put gifts in it, but it has a sunken window. I was going to add a little gold frame to here, and I actually forgot because I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it because I didn't want to take away from the artwork that's on here, but I might do it. But anyway, here's the first box that I created, and I really love the way this came out. And I did cut out, like I said, the thumb holders to be able to hold it to open it. And I'm going to share with you what it looks like on the inside. There is the inside of the box. So it does take away a little bit from the depth of the box, but really it doesn't matter because these are 2 inches and so is the base. So no matter if I put something that's taller than the 2 inches, really I still have room. It'll just be higher up and you'll have to tie it with a ribbon, you know, but it still works. So that's what I like about this. This to me is more like an expanding gift box because it does give you a little bit more room. But I love the way this came out. The paper that I used here is a digital paper. Anything that I can find, I will link in the description box. This paper being one of them. It is an Etsy, a digital download. Another thing that I recommend is if I hardly ever buy paper pads anymore, and I have some bunch, and I really need to use them up instead of printing. But what I find that with digital papers, if you're in a swap, you're able to print as many as you want of the same thing. But I do recommend that you get the correct paper because I really believe that you're robbing yourself by not using a matte photo paper to print, because that's when you actually see the real colors in the artwork. You know, they're very vibrant, very crisp, very clear. And when you bought it and you looked at it on your screen, that's what you liked about it. But when you print on regular cardstock, it's the ink seeps into the paper, so you get a dull version of what it's supposed to really look like. So I do recommend the matte photo paper for printing. And I will link some in the description box. If I don't, in my previous video, I linked some there. But anyway, this is the first one that I created, and this is a rustic Christmas paper. And here's a good place where you can, sometimes we have those wooden words or wooden Christmas elements, and if you're not good at painting or you don't want to paint, you're like, okay, when am I going to use this? Well, with this rustic paper, it was perfect. I didn't have to do anything. This little deer was in one of the embellishment boxes that I was gifted several years ago when I hosted an embellishment box swap. And then these words, I believe, were a gift from my friend Meg. Then I just punched out some little pine branches, I have the Martha Stewart pine branch, and this is one of my go-tos. Every year for the holidays I use it, but a pine branch you can use all year round. So that's one that I use all the time. To cut out the thumbnails, I did use a couple of punches because I wanted to I wanted for you to be able to see some of the green. So in this case, on the green one, I used the 1-inch circle punch, but I only slid it into, let's see, I only slid it in as far as I wanted to go, and then I punched. So it's like a half circle, and that's how you do that. And then for the next, for my matting layer, I knew that I wanted for you to be able to see some of the green where the thumb notch is. So I used a 1 1/4 inch punch. These are circles. These are basic. You're always going to use these. It's not like something that you buy and then you're never going to use. I think those are some of the things that you will continue to use. But if you're good at fussy cutting, you can just draw a circle, a pair of scissors, and cut it out. I wouldn't attempt it, but you know, some people are real good at it. Inside, all I added were the little balls, the foam balls that we get from the Dollar Tree. These were from a couple years ago. I still have a bunch. And I only bought one pack, but I don't use them that often. So I just did some on the little pine branches, and then I added some extra ones just to roll around in there with some faux snow. And I love this. I mean, this would be great for any small gift. So that's one of the ones that I created. Another thing that I have been admiring, my friend Jacqueline, she's Metal Art 001 here on YouTube. I will link her channel in the description box. She has been playing with the Scrap Diva Designs backpack die and sharing her work with me. We text back and forth all the time, bouncing ideas off of each other or getting input from each other. And she's been sending me stuff that she's been working on for the, you know, because she sells her cards and stuff, but she's also going to be in a craft fair. So she's been making a bunch of these little backpacks from the Scrap Diva Design die. I didn't have that die. I have to tell you guys that everything I did here, except for the little gift card holder, this bow right here, and my little tag, the whole backpack was just with a scoreboard and a paper trimmer. I didn't use any dies other than to do the pocket, and I didn't have to. I could have cut out the pocket without a die, but I had this in my stash, so I used it. Also, the bow right here, I felt that this rustic paper, this netted bow was perfect for that. And this is a carnation craft die, so you download the artwork for it, and when you get your die in, you cut it out and it's already this color, or you could just cut it out of any color paper that you desire. But I like that the color in the bow in the artwork, so that's why I use that. Again, there are my little pine branches, a little poinsettia I had in my stash. And look at how beautiful this paper is. It has like a knitted, like a sweater type of design on it as well, one of the sheets. So I added it here. And there are the sides. And this has a 2-inch gusset. And there's the back. Look at that beautiful design back here. It's gorgeous. The only thing that this paper is designed as a 12 by 12. So if you're going to cut it out in a letter size, or any paper that is not a 12 by 12, you're going to have to choose in your selection when you print for it to shrink to fit the paper that you're using. Because if you don't, then it cuts off part of the image. So I had to shrink mine to print it on the A4 matte photo paper, and I ended up with about an 8 by 8. So I was okay with it because I was making small projects. And again, all this was just a paper trimmer and a scoreboard, and just really giving it a lot of thought. I mean, you guys, when you look at something like this, really take a real close look at it, and a lot of times you can figure it out. And this tag I did cut from, this one has a layering piece like this. So I cut it out of there and just stamped it and added a couple of little bling there for berries. And I tied it on with a piece of, is it called jute twine? I punched a hole up here with my, with the hole punch that we use for crafting. So I punched that there, and I didn't have any eyelets really to match, so I didn't add one. But if I had it, I probably would have added it. I did make it with very heavy cardstock, so this is like really sturdy. Now, I'm not taking away from Scrap Diva Designs die, because I love the beveled edge that a die does. Her die has, I think, over 20 dies, because it's got all the layering pieces, so you don't have to think. I mean, if I would have had it, that's what I would have done. I wouldn't have racked my brain to figure it out. But I do design some SVG files sometimes, so I kind of got the have the gist of it, or know how to do it. But I always prefer a die. I just love the die. Hers has the layering pieces with the stitches and all of that. And I will link her website in the description box. And I just added Velcro to this to close it up. And it's a really good size, especially if you have kids in school. I have grandkids. I don't have children that are in school anymore, because I'm an old lady, but I have grandkids that are in school, and this would be great for them to give. They have best friends that they like to give to, so this would be great for that. And this does open up. It's on there with a Velcro as well, and you can add a gift card, or whatever you want in there, something thin, because I didn't add gussets to it or anything. So that is the backpack that I created. And then I wanted to create a bigger version of the shadow sunken window that I did for the little one. I wanted to make a bigger version of it, and I love it. Look at this, guys. Look at how pretty that is. It does have snow in it, so it does move around. It's got snow in it. What I did for this, I did basically the same steps. It's pretty much like building a box. Here's a good example. Here's a couple boxes that I created, and I guess my mind really wasn't in it, and I was making quite a few mistakes. It's like creating a box like this, but leaving some extra tabs on top. And what you do with these is you fold them out like this. You fold them out. Oh, I'm glad I had this to share it with y'all. I mean, you're going to make your box not as deep as this. Mine, I think this one's 3/4 of an inch. The other one was 1/2 inch deep. But you make it as deep as you want. And when you put your box together, make sure you have tabs like this that are left over. So you want to give yourself, I always give myself a 1/2 inch extra all the way around. So what you do is you're going to glue this to the opening that you do on your lid on the inside, and then you decorate that. I recommend that if you're going to do that, though, that you add your panels to the inside and everything before you glue it to your box, because then it's a little bit more difficult with the opening, especially when you make the opening smaller. But all it is this glued to the lid, and the hole on the lid, you center it in the center of this box. So it's really, really easy. And to get, again, this is part of that digital paper that I downloaded. I was able to get an 8x8. This box measures 8x8, and it's 2 inches deep. These die cuts, the deer right here, those were die cuts sent to me by my friend Jacqueline as well. And not only did she send me die cuts, she sent me the die. So I was able to cut out a few more because I wanted to make them real sturdy, the deer and the sleigh. So I added a piece of acetate to the back of the sleigh so I could glue it to the backing on the inside of the box, but for it not to sink in, for it to hold this shape. And all you do is you get a strip of acetate. You make a couple of score marks on it. You need two, because one tab will be glued to the sleigh, the other tab goes across, and then the one that's bent down, like it's like a U almost, it gets glued to the backing. So that way it stays lifted up and you don't see anything. But I have a piece of acetate to hold it there, and one here. Or you could even make them into little cubes and tape them to the back out of an acetate. Not really a box, just a cube shape, and it would hold it. The deer, although it has dimension, I didn't use acetate for that. I used my pin flare glue on that. And then I added a little Christmas tree, some faux snow, and the word believe also came from my friend Jackie. And it has a wreath with a lantern. So I added the red berries and snow to the wreath. I love the way it came out. This is a tattered lace die that I have. I don't even think it's available anymore, but it's gorgeous. So I had some already put together, and I just put it there and added berries to the center. This tag is a tattered lace tag that I picked up, and I didn't know it was tattered lace when I bought it. I actually got it on Ally, and I did cut. There's like 3 different designs, and I cut them out, and put them together. And I don't know what I did with them, so I need to find them. I'll look around and see, but sometimes I don't put things where they go, so I can't find them. But this has the layering, the artwork and the decoupage, which is the layering for it. So that's where I got this tag from. And then I just stamped Merry Christmas there. So, and I tied it with a little piece of cord around the holly. So it's really loose. I didn't even tie it. It doesn't even have a knot. But there you can see the whole box. Look at how cute that is. I just felt that the fox went really well with this wilderness look. Here is the side of my box. It's got the sweater print on there. I did the thumbnail notches on either side of the box. And you try and center them as much as possible. You can mark if you want. I normally just eyeball. So I'm going to open this so you can see. You can consider this my Saturday morning makes, because I just made this. And there's the inside of my box. What I love about this, again, this is like an expanding box, because there's 2 inches here and 2 on the lid. So if I had something that was just a little bit higher than 2 inches, my lid would still fit. It would still fit on top because it can expand. It would just expose more of the side, but it works. And I didn't add any paper on the side because the lid that I created in the box, I like them to be snug. And if I add another piece of paper, it's not going to fit. In order to make this box strong, I did cut out strips of chipboard and layered them. Not layered, I glued them to the sides. And then I did the paper. On the bottom, all I did was I used a heavyweight cardstock and then the printed one, because I only had 12 by 12 paper that is very, very thin. So I wanted to add some stability to it. So I did that by adding paper and chipboard. I didn't do anything on the bottom. It's just plain white. And I'm going to show you the inside of the box. Here is the inside of the box. See, it's like if I created a box like this and glued it upside down. That's how you create these. So if you know how to make a box, you can figure this out. And it's because everything is white, it looks pretty clean. I didn't have to cover up anything because it's pretty clean. It doesn't look bad at all. But yeah, that's what I created, and I really, oops, I got my hands on my tag and my stickles are not dry yet. And but it wasn't very hard to create it. You know, it's a little time consuming because we want to add all those pretty details to it, but it's not very hard at all. Thanks for watching. I hope that this inspires you and gives you ideas and helps you out with all that Christmas packaging or birthday or a wedding. The beauty of learning how to make your own is that I live in a very small town. And if I wanted a certain color bag or for a certain theme, we're very limited. But because I can create my own, that really helps me out. Anyway, guys, that's what I did. That's all that I wanted to share with y'all. And like I said, I hope that this does inspire you and give you ideas. Anything that I create, guys, you can recreate. I don't have a problem with it. I hope everyone has a great day and God bless. Bye.